Hello, my friends. My name is Ryan Freeman. Welcome to my life. First, I just want to say thank you to all of my subscribers for sticking with this channel because I have been absent for the past several weeks. And so this is sort of an update to let you guys know why I was absent, what I've been up to, and what you can expect in the near future. So my last video, you saw me, I had extremely red eyes. It might have looked like I was crying. That's because I was. I had something going on with my eyes. And I thought it was because I got this ointment inside my eyes. I went to one doctor, they said it was an allergic reaction. Then I went to another doctor and he gave me some medicine that I wasn't actually supposed to take. But it wasn't until I went to the hospital because my eyes were not getting better. They were just red, gunky, crying, and then I actually started getting sick. On top of that, like cold-like symptoms, sore throat, exhausted, all sorts of stuff. Really not fun on top of the eyes. And I went to a hospital without an appointment. And this is, perhaps it's a good thing, perhaps it's a bad thing. It's just a thing, is that as a foreigner, sometimes you do end up, sometimes it ends up not being to your favor, but oftentimes it does. So when I went to the hospital without an appointment, I was like, because they didn't know what to do with me, I was just like given a nurse that spoke English and rushed to the front of many different checkpoints and lines until I had a number to see the eye specialist. Still took a little while, but I was able to see a doctor that day at the hospital. Lots of old people waiting in front of me. I end up meeting with these doctors, and they do a much more thorough analysis at the hospital than they do at those small clinics that I went to before. The clinics, I think, do a good job, and the benefit of the clinics is it's a lot quicker to get in and get out, and I think, and it's cheaper as well, at least in this case. But I think the hospitals do a more thorough examination. In my experience, and I was told that I had a viral conjunctivitis, which is an eye infection. And there's several ways that you can have an eye infection, bacterial, as well as viral. Mine was viral, on top of something called keratitis. I'm not exactly sure if I'm pronouncing it right. That's some inflammation or damage to your, I believe it's your cornea. And so it was not a mild case. It was pretty severe. And then on top of these cold-like symptoms. So the whole virus is really attacking my whole system. So I end up finishing winter camp sick with bad eyes. And then I spend my first entire week of my holiday. I've just worked this entire semester, and I spend my first week of my winter vacation at home doing nothing really, sleeping as much as I can. Try to play video games, try to watch something, but it's really difficult to even see the screen. Really fussing about my eyes, all I want at that point was just for my eyes to recover, drinking, eating as healthy as possible, and bemoaning the fact that I had to cancel. I had like dates lined up with several women. I had travel plans. I wanted to go camping with my scooter. I talked about that in my last video. And it didn't seem like any of that was going to happen because my eye infection with the keratitis was pretty severe. But there was a saving grace throughout that first week of my vacation. You know, I'm home alone. I live alone. It's pretty lonely. And I just end up, I end up talking with a girl through Bumble. And, you know, with online dating, I've had a lot of experience online dating because I'm 42 now. Yesterday was my birthday. And you know, you can meet diamonds in the rough, but I think you have to go through a lot of rough before you find those diamonds. And there was something about the chat with this young woman that was so interesting, so different. And we ended up chatting from like morning to night every day. And it was so comforting because I didn't feel like I was alone this entire week as I was recovering. And then she told me she had to leave town for a while and I only had one chance to see her. It was a small window of opportunity. In fact, I was pessimistic because I feel like with online dating, often you will get catfished. People are not as thin or beautiful as they appear in their photos. A little pessimistic. It's not always the case. And obviously, chemistry is not necessarily the same when you meet in person as it can be on chatting. So I was like, oh my God, I'm still sick. I just want to recover because my mother, my American mother, is coming to Taiwan, and I want to be as fit as possible to lead her through this country. You know, I'm tired all the time. I'm sort of in a daze. My vision, my field of vision is just cloudy and misty. But I just had these nice chats with this young lady every day, and this was the one chance, and she wanted to meet, and so I went. And I had no plan. I just took a bus, met her at the station, and it was the opposite of a catfish. She was far more beautiful than I could have ever expected, and I was stunned that I was meeting this young lady, that she would want to meet me. And she was just dressed perfect, looked perfect. And she's like, where are we going? Where are we going? And I'm like, I don't know. Let's walk this way. The beach is there. We end up walking around, end up going to the beach, no one's there. You know, it's kind of romantic. And then end up at a bar that could be out of like the 1930s. This guy had collected all sorts of memorabilia and gadgets and appliances from Europe and North America that still worked, and we had it almost to ourselves, and it was such a comfortable atmosphere. There's a little dog. We ended up talking and really getting to know each other, and it was so amazing because a lot of times, like I said, you don't know if that chemistry that you had in the chat is going to be the same in person. And I found that it was even better to be with her in person. We were worried about the language barrier, but her English was so much better than my Chinese, and we were able to communicate quite a lot, probably not as much as she would have liked it to have been. And so I met her the night, just like one night or 2 nights before I leave to go up to Taipei to pick up my mom. I go to Taipei, pick up my mom, and we do a short tour down the East Coast. We do 2 nights in Taipei, then 2 nights in Hualien, then 2 nights in Taidong, and then we spend 3 to 4 nights in Kaohsiung. And the whole time I'm still talking to this young, beautiful angel that I was quite in love with, you know, am quite in love with. But I was able to balance it. You know, mom had priority, and we had a fantastic time. I was worried, you know, because it was Chinese New Year, the holiday, whether or not we'd be able to get train tickets and whether things would be crowded, but everything, or like restaurants would be closed, or we'd need to make a reservation. But we had no problems traveling to all of our destinations. Our hotels were great, sometimes a little funky, but nice. And we just had a fantastic time. Taipei, if for anyone who is interested in traveling in Taiwan, I do recommend spending a couple days in Taipei. If you like metropolises, if you like, sorry, something just fell. I think it was my gold medal that I won several weeks ago in jiu-jitsu. If you like food options, my mom loved Taipei Main Station, right on the ground floor of Taipei Main Station. There's just tons of bakeries. Every single one of them is so good. There's restaurants on the second floor, and walking around, there's beautiful parks, monuments. Taipei was a fantastic choice to spend a couple days. And then we ended up going to Hualien, and Hualien is a place that a lot of locals will recommend that you go, particularly if you're interested in nature, because one of their most famous natural attractions is a place called Taroko Gorge, and it does live up to the hype. Now, I met one Swiss woman that was not impressed. She's like, this is not as good as the Swiss Alps. Well, maybe it's not as good as the Swiss Alps. I don't know, but it is beautiful. I mean, it is beautiful. And I was worried. I think one of the best ways to explore that area is with a scooter, so you can like stop and go as you want. But I couldn't rent a scooter because my eyes it would not be safe for me on the road. Now it's okay. It's still not perfect, but it's okay. But at that time, so we had to take a local bus. If you do go to Hualien, I do recommend you not sign up for a tour if you're a little intrepid, or hire a car. I mean, you could do that if that's something you want, but a far cheaper way of exploring the gorge, if you have the time, is just with your Easy Card, which is just something you scan when you get on the local buses. Is you go to the bus station right outside of the main train station in Hualien, and you take the 310 bus, and the 310 bus stops at all of these stops. You get a map from the information, and it's very easy to follow. You get on, get off, wait for the next bus. There's tons of places to see along the gorge, different hikes, and I just found the gorge to live up to the hype. And maybe it was because I did have lower expectations after talking to that Swiss woman who sort of cast it in a negative light, but I loved it. My mom loved it. It wasn't even that crowded. I think it was like right before the real Chinese New Year rush. And then from Hualien, there was in Hualien. So as an expat, as a foreigner living in another country, a lot of times you will want comfort food. You will want a really good American style or European style meal. And you know, there's less options because you're not in your country. But there are these restaurants, American restaurants, oftentimes opened by an American or a European and who's married a Taiwanese, or they've just set up a business. And a lot of times the quality is very good, but maybe not as good as what you really, really wanted from home, but good enough. Well, there is a place in Hualien called the Salt Lick, Chicago, the Salt Lick, and it was amazing. Me and my mom both agree it was better than any of the barbecue pizza places that we knew back home. I mean, I had a pulled pork sandwich one night and then a deep dish pizza, and everything was amazing. Craft beer was incredible. Price-wise, maybe slightly cheaper than you would pay at home, and then plus you don't tip, so noticeably cheaper than what you would get. And in Taiwan, now you're saying, Ryan, why didn't you introduce your mom to all sorts of crazy seafood with tentacles and fish heads? Well, the thing is, I do like adventurous eating, but my mom does not. And my main mission for that holiday was to ensure that my mom had a very nice time. So she did. And we go to Taidong, and Taidong was a sleepy beach village. We probably could have only done one night, but we did end up having a very nice time going for a bicycle ride at their seaside park. Our hotel gave us free bicycles, riding through flowers and tunnels, seeing the sea. It was a very nice holiday. Did some back to school shopping because we are now back at school. And my mom just got to the airport a couple hours ago and is now flying to Japan, where she will meet my ex-wife and see my two daughters, who I miss very much, and hug them and kiss them for me because I cannot go to Japan, unfortunately. If you know my story, you know my story. Well, that is it for this holiday update. I am still talking to this young angel. I am quite in love, quite taken, and I am back to school. So in my next video, which will be coming very soon, I will be talking about the second semester at this school that I work at here in Kaohsiung. Talk about the differences in my schedule, how I feel, what the vibe's like, and I am excited to bring you that. Thank you for sticking with me. For all of my subscribers, please click subscribe if you're new. Thank you very much. Give me a thumbs up. My name's Ryan Freeman. Bye-bye.